Hey guys, John Delarose here. I haven't done a review in a while, and I've got a couple books actually I've read recently. I just haven't had time to sit down and record these very much. I'm sick today, and so I spent my time reading The Death of Superman here, which we got a little sticker on the cover covering that up. I went to Half Price Books the other day, and they had the whole series of this there, and they also had a bunch of other stuff. I don't usually pick up DC stuff. I just don't want to open the can of worms and be picking up even more books to the Epic collections and all that. But, I thought, you know what, I remember reading the actual issue as a kid, and then I thought it was fun. I read a couple more from the World Without a Superman era, and I enjoyed it. Back when I was 10, I wanted to see if it held up, and so I got into this. This volume has like 5 or 6 issues. It's got like a prelude of this, and I remember this scene vividly, which is one of the more interesting scenes in comics. And so just fist hitting things and breaking through some shell, and boom, there's Doomsday. So we get into Superman Man of Steel, and Superman's got his own fight, and Doomsday's kind of in the background. I think I had this issue as a kid too, because I remember this kid drawing a sort of a glow-in-the-dark Superman symbol there to try to get him out. Doomsday's showing up, but Superman has a fight with some other villains, takes them down, and we see Doomsday wreck some stuff at the end of the day. Then we get into Justice League, and I did not read this one as a kid. I could barely recognize any of these Justice League characters. Like I said, I'm not really a DC guy. I know who Blue Beetle is, and Guy Gardner, and Booster Gold. I mean, I don't know who these others are. But, interesting. They all fight the Doomsday guy, and he kicks their butts. And it rolls into Superman number 74, where Justice League's all beat up. We have a typical Gen X angry kid sort of deal, yelling at his mom and making her cry. It's very, very ham-fisted, but it's all right. I liked it. And then this chick falls through. I guess she makes ice of some kind. I don't know. I'm really not that interested in these Justice League people. I'm surprised they replaced all the Justice League characters, which is like, who are these people? But it is what it is. Doomsday just kicks the crap out of them and goes. And what I see from this whole series so far, because we get into Adventures of Superman now, I didn't even realize there was an Adventures of Superman. I forgot about this. There was Action Comics, Adventures of Superman, Superman, and Superman Man of Steel, I think, going at the same time. So they were really milking 4 Superman books at a time in this era of overprinting and all that. This is the early 90s, of course. And what I find is there's not much to these stories. It's a bunch of fighting every issue. It's very, nice art and nice action, stuff like that. And it just continues with that. And, it probably could have been half as long and it would have been just as fine. What's interesting is this Lex Luthor-Supergirl relationship. And I guess he's a young Lex Luthor. He had a dad and he died, and this is the new one. And Supergirl is dating him or something like that. I found that dynamic interesting and wanted to read more about it, but there wasn't too much. It doesn't go into depth. It's really just about the 90s. Let's show the action. Rah, Doomsday's bad, yeah, right. And that keeps going along. We're in whatever this next issue is, and like I said, not much to the story. You can skip over whole swaths of this and and be fine. Just kind of look at the art and not even deal with it. Then we get into Man of Steel 19, and Doomsday is here. Oh my gosh. Wow. And so we have worried. There's a couple, of course they're leading up to the death of Superman. They're very overt about it, and they're just they don't think anything bad can really happen to him. There's a bunch of lines like that throughout this that are a little cringy, but it's all right. And we finally, Supergirl is hanging with Lex, and I think she's pressed into action in this issue, maybe the next one. I don't remember. Yep, it is the next one. Oh, no, 75. So I thought Supergirl was pressed into action here. Where'd she go? Oh, yeah, here it is. I found this weird. So she got her whole face smushed. I have no idea what's going on with Supergirl in this time either, or what the deal is. And I guess she's just like a putty from the Power Rangers or something, and not actually Supergirl. Is she dead? I don't understand. I mean, I thought it seems like he killed her. I mean, he literally smushed her face. And I think I do remember reading that as a kid and being very confused at how there were still Supergirl issues after this. Because obviously dead. Obviously, like, just destroyed. I don't even know what to think about this or how what the context is. And that's a problem with a lot of comics when you get into this 90s era, is if you don't have the context of the full line, you have no idea what's going on. And this is true of Marvel Comics in the 90s also. And so, yeah, that thing happened. It didn't matter that much. I mean, mostly this is Superman and Doomsday just beating each other. And then we get into Superman 75, the actual Death of Superman issue. And this is done in complete splash pages. Every page is a splash page. And he fights. Nice Lois kiss splash page. He goes back into battle. More splash pages. Splash page, pass page. I mean, I'm kind of snarky about this now, but at the time you didn't really see comics doing this. This is a interesting thing. And we have the fight. We have Super Nips. I don't know. Keeps going. The fight's still going, and everybody. They see them both kind of go down, I guess. I mean, what would also drive me a little crazy here is we all watch this and Superman's going to die. It's not clear if he beat Doomsday or not. I'm not sure if he killed him or not. I mean, it's just focused on the Superman dying. So there's that. And then it ends with a double splash page to deal with this. So this issue was really fast to read, obviously. You know, and maybe didn't have that much value by itself. Overall, the storytelling... oh yeah, there's one more thing. They actually did a news, like an actual newspaper, like reacting to the death of Superman, which, you know, I just kind of skimmed this. I wasn't that interested in it, to be honest. So, but the story here is interesting. So the Doomsday is just breaking out of this prison. He just beats up everybody. He just fights. He's just killing for the sake of killing. They really don't get into why he's doing it or who he is or anything, which is kind of annoying, because it just leads to a fight for the sake of fighting. So there's really no, like, personal dramatic tension there. You just know Superman's going to die because the hype is that Superman's going to die, and there's no real reason for it. It's just that's happening. So not a lot of personal stakes there, not a lot of personal tension. Now the pacing's really good. I mean, it's fast. There's a lot of good action panels, and you know, it was fun. I was never bored the entire time. I mean, like I said, I didn't really care about those Justice League characters, and I found it odd that Supergirl got her face smushed off and didn't know what was going on there. But beyond those 2 points, you know, I mean, it was a fine read. It was all right and enjoyable on that level. So Superman dies, and of course there's a return of Superman, so I'm going to get through probably the rest of these. But this on its own was worth a read. I don't think I'd, you know, really pick it up all the time and really care about it that much. I wish I hadn't wrinkled the cover here because I'm probably going to resell this. Whoops. And that's about it. So it's all right. You know, this is fine. It's 90s comics at its glory. So like I said, there's a lot of world stuff. You don't really know what's going on, and you can't just like jump in very well as a new reader. But on the other hand, they just like devolve and do so much action. It's really just about that anyway. So that's it. Probably a 6 or 7 out of 10 overall is what I think. And that's about it. All right. I don't know how many DC books I'm going to review, but here we go. I will see you on the flip side. Like and subscribe.